My name is Melissa Jo Peltier, and I'm reading from my novel, Reality Boulevard. Back inside the lobby of the Television Academy, nursing a glass of red wine, Adrian Mammon stood sentinel next to the dessert table. He waited as guest after guest reached in to casually pick up a cookie or a pedophore. None of them fit the demographic he was seeking, but patience was among his many talents, if not virtues. Finally, a young woman of about 20 drifted toward the table. Her hair was dyed blonde, her skin heavily tanned and overly made up, and she wore a sausage casing-tight skirt and low-cut camisole, from which her unnaturally rounded breasts poked brazenly. She was shapely and fit, but definitely not the runway starvation ideal that Adrian knew she and her contemporaries all strove for. The fact that her skirt looked a little too tight and a small roll of flesh marred the smooth demarcation line above her waistband gave her away. She was imperfect and insecure about it. She was trying to fit the mold and failing. Adrian loved this. Insecurity, especially insecurity ineffectively masked, was a sure sign of an easy victim. He watched as the girl's pretty eyes found the vanishing desserts. She looked around to see if anyone was watching, then grabbed a handful of pedophores and gobbled them quickly, shoving one after another into her mouth. He'd been right about the insecurity. And this was even better. Pretty Eyes was exhibiting classic binging behavior. She was possibly a bulimic, the appearance of outward enviable perfection masking the inner discomfort that the girl was using food to fill. "Excuse me," he said to the girl, gently touching her arm. She turned, startled, then relaxed when she saw the handsome face of the young man smiling down at her. "I saw you in the audience tonight." He handed her a business card that read, "Jake Storm, executive producer, Stormy Weather Productions." "Thank you," the girl responded. "You're a producer?" "Guilty. I take it you're interested in reality TV?"
"Well, really I'm an actress," the girl said, manipulating the timbre of her voice to emulate confidence. "I was in theater at UCLA, but that was like kind of a waste of time, so now I'm working at a club in Hollywood, taking classes and auditioning, kind of between agents." "What do you produce?"
"Do you know the show America's Next A-Lister?" he asked. She shook her head no, but her eyes lit up instantly. He just thought up the name on the spot, but it was perfect. He really was a genius. Her reaction convinced him that he must flesh out this idea and add it to his repertoire. "It's the newest show on Bravo," he lied, congratulating himself again for his creativity. "Anyway, we're casting right now, and when I saw you tonight, I thought, she's exactly what we're looking for." The audition process is pretty involved, a gauntlet really, but our casting director will walk you through it if you call my office on Monday. He looked at her thoughtfully. "If you're interested, we can have a drink across the street and I'll give you the broad strokes." The girl smiled, then hesitated. "Don't worry, we'll be in public, right across the street at Bennigan's bar." "Oh, I'm not worried. I was just going to ask if my friends could come too, but..." She looked across the room where two other blonde girls were pushing through the crowd. "Maybe I'll just meet them later." Adrian smiled. Of course she wouldn't bring them. They were here for the same reason she was. They wanted to be famous. She wasn't about to risk a shot at a lucky break by diluting it between two equally ambitious and attractive contenders. As he watched her making excuses to her friends, Adrian sketched out a game plan for the rest of the evening. They'd have drinks and he'd charm her. If there was a roommate, the evening would end there. He might score a little cash from her wallet, just to have some tangible reward for the evening's efforts. If there was no roommate, he'd convince her to bring him to her place. He'd time the rohypnol to take effect shortly after they arrived. She'd pass out, and he'd go to work. Adrian was not a sexual predator, though later in his mind he would go over every detail of the evening as he fondled himself in bed, culminating in a proud and magnificent climax. He wasn't even doing this one for the money. The bulimic girl was the classic non-working actress wannabe, a pathetic excuse for a mark. He might score some cash and a little jewelry from her place, possibly some small electronics. He might not take anything but a memento. Tonight's gig was just a little warm-up to keep his hand in play before the bigger score. It was a bit of a trip down memory lane as well, the kind of intimate one-on-one con he used to pull in the old days, before he went pro, when he was still without a solid team to back him up. It certainly wasn't a challenge. This wasn't work for him. It was his calling, and it was all in good fun.